The personal narrative assignment was a way to explore uncertainty and combine writing techniques such as the use of imagery, scenes, showing not telling, and abandoning a strict chronological storytelling style. We noticed that our essays shared a common theme of the unexpected turn of events. Here are some examples. During January of 2011, my grandfather ran down the stairs during a basketball game to get fresh pretzels out of the cafeteria oven to bring up to the concession stand for the playoff game. As he was racing to the kitchen, he noticed a presence in the school art room. It was Lisa and her daughter's friend, Chris. My grandfather saw the two of them very close to each other in the dark art room. He immediately raced back up the stairs and into the principal's office and slammed the door and told the principal of what he saw. Though at the time he would not even discuss this incident at all, he took comfort in the fact that the administrators knew and they would do something about it. Lisa was immediately taken off the substitute teacher list, and the boy's parents were notified. However, his parents did nothing about it. They hired her as a private tutor for him in their home. About 2 years later, there was something strange about the clouds that just made the whole day very dark. As I walked into my mother's dental practice, iced tea in hand, I was prepared to work the afternoon shift. For some reason, I was not greeted by my wonderful office manager. I put my bag away, clocked in, and went into the back to clean the operatory. I soon came upon the office staff huddled around a computer. My mother was quivering, and my eyes were attracted to the screen. On the screen was a newspaper article posted that day. Teacher arrested for rape of 13-year-old boy. The sounds in the office had faded out. My eyes had locked on the computer screen, and I could not look away. As I scrolled down, her face appeared on the screen, the face I knew so well. The face my family and I shared countless memories with. I always thought about Lisa and this boy being sexually involved, but never did I think it could be anywhere near true.
Everything was destroyed. The store, the house, the kayaks, everything. Washing machines, fridges, bathtubs, in the middle of the ocean. It looked like the tornado from the Wizard of Oz came through and pushed everything out to sea. Imagine your favorite toy as a kid, or a picture of you and your mom, in the middle of the ocean, never again to be replaced. Back half of my uncle's house was gone, as if God took a sword and cut it in half. In the living room, where usually my uncle's comfortable couch was, where we watched all football games, was a jet ski. My uncle didn't even own a jet ski. Then I finally saw my uncle, who just stared out to sea, sitting on what was left of his dock. He wasn't saying a word or scavenging through his belongings, he just stared at the water. My uncle held a paddle in his hand and just kept waving it in the water. While he was waving a paddle around in the water, I like to think he was drawing what he thinks his new house would look like. Because like a child watching the sandcastle they just made get swept away by the ocean, my uncle watched his home get swept away by the storm.
After that, I laid on the floor and I just collapsed on the soft grass. I stared up at the sky, wondering what had just happened. I heard the crowd in the background going nuts, but I knew they weren't cheering me on. As I kept staring, I started to slowly lose my hearing. I heard someone calling out my name, but it was faint and fuzzy. I saw Kevin looking at me, and he offered me his hand. I stood up and it was as if I came back to reality. When I got on the bus, all I got was cold stares. The bus had the same silence as before, but this time even the driver knew what had happened and turned off his radio. As we got off the bus, Coach pulled me aside. "What was that, Nick?" Coach asked seriously with a tough tone. "You know I'd sit here and talk to you about what kinds of terrible display that was, but that was your last game. You let me down, Nick, and what's worse, you let your whole team down. They put in their heart against the team that made it to the finals last year, and you didn't. Don't worry about it though, it's high school. Anyway, good luck in college, Nick." That would be the last time I ever saw my coach. As I walked towards my house, I tried calling Nate and Kevin, but they wouldn't pick up. I wondered what got into them. The guilt started seeping through all of my veins like a poison.
In an instant, the much-traveled course of what was supposed to be a classic Thursday was shifted. My knees began to buckle beneath me. They were always getting achy due to standing in the same spot and position for hours on end. I disregarded them and thought I was just tired. I did not, however, believe I was tired enough that I could watch the shelf of flower bouquets melt together until they looked like a Monet painting and dismiss it. The yellows of the summer squash began to bleed into the reds and oranges of the tomatoes. Every head of cabbage was lost and became a long stretch of green paint smeared across a new canvas. If it had been a painting, people would have paid millions for it, but I would not pay a cent to see it the unsettling way I did. My once nimble fingers couldn't seem to find the keys that they had spent so many hours learning to effortlessly dance over. The customers began to notice that something was off, and the customers don't notice anything. They can't find the banana rack that sits right next to the front door. So if they began to notice that my face was pale and that my eyes were glazed over, then something must have been very wrong. They must have noticed that I was not holding my balance very well. My secret was out. They began asking me if I was okay. I did not know. I did not feel faint or ill. They asked what was happening. I did not know. I couldn't think of why I would be swaying about and forgetting the motor skills I'd been perfecting over the past 18 years. I had eaten breakfast and I had been drinking water, yet my body was still rejecting the idea of consciousness. My elbows knocked on the counter and then were quick to match my knees on the floor, and my head soon rushed to meet them.